Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about two sneak peeks we got for The Walking Dead Season 9 Episode 14. Both of these sneak peeks are very interesting, and one of them has a little bit of foreshadowing, I think, for a possible future event. So we're going to discuss all this in this video today. Before I do begin, though, if you are a fan of The Walking Dead, hit that subscribe button for daily content, but let's get started. So the first sneak peek is between Daryl and Judith, and they're sitting here discussing some stuff about the hilltop, and I just love this scene. First of all, I love the way that Daryl is sitting, like the exact same way as Judith, and it's just like a very friendly scene, and it's like, you know, Daryl's like kind of like a father figure for her. But during this sneak peek, Daryl and Judith are talking about the hilltop because Judith asked Daryl if, you know, the hilltop's in danger because she wants to go help out. You know, she saw Daryl help out and said, like, that means you want to help, I want to help too. But Daryl says, you know, like, no, your mom's right, you and RJ should be here where it's safe. And Judith says, like, no, it doesn't matter just about us, it's about everybody. You know, we should go help others if they need help. So, you know, Judith is also doing kind of, I wouldn't say going against what her mom said, but her mom isn't really helping out the hilltop as we saw. So, you know, she definitely wants to help, and I think it's going to be foreshadowing what's going to be happening later on in the episode, because I do think Judith is going to leave to go help out the hilltop, or at least try to. I just did a video talking about the season 9 episode 14 trailer, and in that trailer we have Judith, like Michonne going after Judith because it looks like she's out by herself or something, and I did a whole video on it if you want to go check it out. But yeah, Michonne, you know, she's like yelling at Judith and stuff, so I do believe, you know, she's gonna leave to go to the, maybe like on her own, try to go to the hilltop, and when Michonne finds out, she's gonna start freaking out about it, and you know, she's gonna go out and look for her. So I do think this is setting up a little bit, not like a crazy foreshadow or anything, it's gonna happen probably in the same episode, but yeah, I definitely think, you know, her talking to Daryl, and even though Daryl says it's not a good idea, I do think she's gonna leave and go help the hilltop. But you know, she most likely isn't gonna make it there. I think she's gonna get in some trouble with walkers, and you know, Michonne's probably gonna come help her. Another line of dialogue that I really liked here is when Judith told Daryl that I heard the stories about how everybody fought the saviors and won. We can do that again. So, you know, she hasn't even met the Whisperers really yet, and she wants to go out and fight them. So she's definitely reminding me of Carl a lot, because, you know, when Carl was her age, you know, around the same, when he was very young, he always wants to step up and help out. So there's something about, you know, I just love how, you know, Judith being, you know, his sister, you know, how they kind of brought that full circle, and you can definitely see the similarities between them. The dialogue in this scene is like freaking awesome, because next Daryl says you haven't heard all the stories, which I love that line, because that line means so much in a lot of ways, because obviously, you know, I don't think, you know, Judith would know about all the horrible things that happened during the Savior arc, like, you know, Daryl being locked up, Glenn and Abraham dying. Well, she might know about Glenn and Abraham dying, but what I'm trying to get at is that, because that was a huge death, but I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't know about that, because those are things that nobody wants to talk about, and there's a lot of shit that went down during the Negan arc that nobody wants to talk about. And then also post Negan and post the Saviors, you know, after, you know, Rick blew up the bridge, they probably went through a lot of shit then too, and Judith was still probably very young then, because I'm assuming like all the chaotic stuff after Rick's exit probably happened within the first, like, at least the first year. You know, I wouldn't see stuff happening in 3-4 years after, you know, Rick left. Like, I would see them, you know, messing up and having a hard time within probably like the first year that Rick left. You know, after that they probably got a hang of, you know, how to deal with things. So, you know, Judith was still very young then, so there's probably a lot that she doesn't know, and then also there is a lot that she knows about the Saviors. And then continuing this streak of awesome lines, Judith tells Daryl, like, what would my dad do? And then Daryl doesn't even say anything, which is funny, because Judith then says, like, yeah, that's what I thought, because we know, Daryl knows, Judith knows, everybody knows that Rick Grimes would definitely not allow the hilltop to struggle. He would try his hardest to let all the communities, you know, be good and, you know, just make sure they're all stable. But this kind of made me think a little bit about this whole Michonne thing, because I get that she doesn't want to help because she's worried about her own people, but I really wish they showed the Alexandrians struggling, because at the end of the episode 12, we saw them load up the truck with a bunch of supplies, right? But I really wish they showed, because I mean, we saw they had like internal conflict, like they were arguing with one another inside of that meeting room, but other than that, I kind of wish they showed us, you know, maybe them struggling with medicine and, you know, food and stuff like that. That way it would be more believable that Michonne didn't want to help the hilltop, because right now they just made it seem like Michonne was cautious, like they were okay, but she was like, I don't know if we can afford it, because what if something bad happens, you know, rather than something bad actually happening. But again, it's not too late for that. Maybe they can tell us more and show us more. But that was just one thing that's been in my mind about this whole Alexandria and Hilltop thing. But yeah, that sneak peek I really did like. You know, it's such like an easy, simple scene. Just two characters sitting down and having a good conversation. And with The Walking Dead, you know, 9 seasons in, we've seen a good amount of action, right? So I feel like sometimes the show benefits when it takes a step back and just has a grounded scene between two characters. So such a cool sneak peek and such a great scene. But anyways, moving on, I want to talk about the sneak peek we also got on The Talking Dead, and this one is really cool. It involves Michonne and Lydia. Now this next sneak peek is definitely Michonne dialogue heavy. Lydia just sits there and listens to Michonne. She just says nothing, but Michonne definitely says some interesting things that I think could be setting up the future. So I'm gonna read everything she said because I wrote it down, and then we're gonna discuss it. So Michonne sits down next to Lydia and says this. She says, "I've done things to protect this place. Some things I'm not proud of. Some I try to forget. To save my people, I had to risk others. It hasn't been easy, but it's what I had to do. I made my peace with it. It might be easier if the life I had to risk was my own. If I could just walk away and take the risk with me, if that could somehow make everyone safe, now that wouldn't be so hard. Think about that." And then she gets up and walks off. Alright, first thing I want to say is that we found out that Lydia is free. You know, Michonne isn't going to lock her up or anything, which I kind of expected, but I just wanted to point out there. But I love this sneak peek because it definitely had a parallel with the first sneak peek. Both Daryl and Michonne, both characters have gone through a lot. Both characters have been scarred, that we're going to learn about this episode. But both characters were very vague when talking to the other younger person, right? Like Daryl was saying, like, you know, you haven't heard all the stories, and you know, he's definitely hiding stuff. And then same thing with Michonne, you know, she's just being very blunt with it, to be honest, but she's not telling exactly what happened. You know, she's saying, like, I had to risk others to save my people. So, you know, and you know, she says it hasn't been easy, and she tries to forget about a lot of stuff. And everything Michonne was saying definitely now makes me believe even more that Michonne probably killed some people. And it was probably those people who came to Alexandria after Rick, you know, left. To save my people, I had to risk others. If that doesn't say that Michonne probably killed some people to save, you know, Alexandria, I don't know what does. And, you know, Norman Reedus said that this X-Scar thing is between Michonne and Daryl only. So now, like, I'm thinking they kill people and then they gave each other the X-Scars for, like, I don't know, maybe it was like a guilty thing or they just thought it was needed. But I just don't think other people gave him these scars, because if they did, wouldn't they tell the other Alexandrians? And then that would even justify them possibly killing other people. But if Norman Reedus is saying that it's only between them and nobody else knows about it, I feel like they gave each other the scars. And they are, you know, relatively in the same location and are on their bodies. So I feel like that's what happened. Now, the part that I was talking about, you know, the foreshadowing thing for a future, you know, event, you know, it's when Michonne said that, you know, if maybe it would be easier if the life I had to risk was my own, if I could just walk away and take the risk with me, if that could somehow make everyone safe, then that wouldn't be so hard. Is this foreshadowing Michonne leaving next season? This is what I think. I think it's a little bit of a foreshadowing, nothing too intentional, because obviously Michonne right now as a character, she doesn't know she's going to leave next season, right? She's dealing with the whispers, but the writers and everybody, they know Denai Guerrero is leaving, so I do think this is like a little seed planted from the writers, because we see this a lot in The Walking Dead, like characters would say a line of dialogue and then later on it comes back to them. But, you know, and I'm sure the writers knew about Denai Guerrero leaving for a while. Like, it's pretty, like, relatively new news to us, but they probably knew about it for a while. So, like, it's not something just, like, brand new for them, too. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they knew about Denai Guerrero leaving and they added this line of dialogue for that reason. And we know Denai Guerrero is leaving next season, but they also said they're planning for Denai Guerrero to return with the Rick Grimes movies, which means she's not going to die next season. She's probably going to go off looking for Rick. So, you know, with this line of dialogue here, like, it kind of shows that she's been contemplating leaving, or like at least she's thought about it before. Not like contemplating leaving. I know she has Judith and RJ, but, you know, she said herself, like, if I left and it somehow made everybody safe, that wouldn't be that hard to do. So leaving isn't like completely out of her radar is what I'm trying to say. So next season or something, if she gets an idea or a hint that Rick is alive, or, you know, they get like this radio call, or, you know, Jadis comes back, I don't know. But if she gets some sort of indication that Rick is alive, we kind of know now that leaving wouldn't be that hard for her. Like, she would be willing to leave. And that's kind of a given because she loves Rick, but I feel like this line of dialogue is there for a purpose, right? Like, I feel like they knew about it, so they wrote this in just for a little bit of a tease, I think. And the other meaning behind this line of dialogue, which I think is the one that Michonne most likely is referring to when she's talking to Lydia, but I just think this also has a double meaning because of what's coming with Michonne. But I think what she's referring to here is that, you know, we know the Whispers are going to be after Lydia, and that's going to put, you know, the Alexandrians at a crossfire, and they're going to be in danger also. So she's saying, like, you know, if I walked away and I knew the danger would follow me, that wouldn't be that hard to do. So think about that. You know, she's basically telling Lydia, like, if you know that the danger is coming and if you leave, it's going to leave with you, like, think about that. So I think, you know, Lydia is going to step up and possibly leave, because we all know Alpha is not going to stop until she gets her daughter back. And, you know, Lydia is, I think I'm sold with Lydia. Like, I feel like she's good now. So I feel like Lydia's going to be like, you know what? You know, she makes a good point. I don't want you guys to be hurt. I'm going to go back and, you know, deal with it myself. But those are the 2 sneak peeks we got for The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 14. Let me know in the comments down below all your thoughts and opinions about this episode and what you're most excited for. And, you know, what do you think is going on with these scars and stuff? I'm interested to hear your thoughts and opinions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating. And for more Walking Dead content like this, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later.